Welcome back to the Third Man podcast on YouTube once again. I'm seated next to Kabir Rampal, professional dew removal expert. How are you today, Kabir?
I'm good. I'm happy CSK have lost. It brings me great joy as an RCB fan. I'm absolutely loving it. The IPL's been fun also so far. So yeah, no complaints.
There's been a little more balance between the batting first and chasing teams in the last
In the last
game
4
week,
5 games,
last
yeah.
4 5
last 4,
games.
5 games.
But CSK's downfall brings us
Always
joy.
happy.
So anyway, let's get straight into it. What were our predictions for last week and
So,
how did we do?
Keshav and I both did pretty well. One co-host did better than others. I'm not gonna say who yet. I'm just gonna say one did a little better than the other.
It was him who did
It was
better.
me. It was most definitely me. Are you guys surprised? I don't think you are. At
Get
this
with the
point.
predictions.
So the first game was Lucknow Chennai. We both predicted Lucknow would win, and they won in, I wouldn't say emphatic fashion, but they won pretty.
They did pretty
convincingly.
well. They went left it a bit late and went hard at the death, but it worked out.
It worked
Evan
out for
Lewis
them.
went extremely hard. Ayush Badoni shows that there is hope for people like Kabir in this world, Lanky, skinny. There is not a muscle on that young boy. You're
What
gonna
does
get
that
there
mean?
one day.
What does that mean? I'd say I'm pretty lean.
For what it's worth, Ayush Badoni is an excellent striker of the ball, not taking anything away from him.
So comparing him to me is taking something away from him.
Definitely.
Okay,
yeah.
moving on. Then was KKR Punjab. Keshav said Punjab first, but towards the end we both agreed KKR would win.
We
and
realized
KKR would
Punjab's
win.
misgivings against
Spin, especially
and-
with the 8 overs of Varun Chakravarti and Narayan.
Before we get into this, I think at the start of this episode we need to address this fact: who is the muscle man for this week? And that is none other than Odean Smith. He didn't fire this week. Oh, but those biceps were popping. They looked immaculate. I am sure Punjab watched our episodes because something in that uniform just made those biceps pop out. It was like, he had like Mount Everest on his arms and all.
For all of you that said I looked embarrassed last week, this is why. This is the reason I looked embarrassed last week.
Odean Smith, you are this week's muscle man. Your prize is a high five from me.
Moving on swiftly, the next game was RR versus MI. We both predicted Rajasthan Royals to win. We said it would be a close game.
It was fairly comfortable.
It was fairly comfortable towards the end, and I think Josh Butler was brilliant. And
I will hold my words on Josh Butler for later in the video, but I would say that originally I thought RR's total was a little low.
it was a little low. I think
180, 190
I think they
is-
started off brilliantly, right?
Exactly.
They got off to a good start. Shimron Hetma gave them a good place to go ahead, and then they just started fumbling towards the end. And
But their bowling clutched
they're
up.
bowling rush. As we predicted in the episode 3, we said that they had the best performance at the auction table, and they showed it. They've showed it so far. Their net run rate is 1 point something or 2.
I think what we have to talk about in this game is Ashwin's celebration after
Oh,
getting
Tilak
Tilak
Verma.
Verma out. That is a 19-year-old boy. Have some mercy.
That is what you need to see in
Yeah,
cricket.
yeah,
that
I
you
love
need to
see
see
it.
this. I think
love to
Ashwin,
see it.
he monkered it. You can't say that I don't think you can say that anymore. They've changed the name.
Yeah,
to
no, but
run out. But
that's
I think
also
I
valid.
think that's what you need to see in
Huh.
cricket. It's perfectly valid.
If a 19-year-old reverse sweeps you for 6 and your ego isn't hurt,
You should be ashamed.
you should be ashamed of yourself. You need to go up there, hit him with a right hook to the jaw. You do not disrespect someone like that. You are India's greatest ever spinner with
Moving on.
400 wickets.
Moving on.
If you hadn't celebrated like that, it would have been disappointing.
Okay. Next game was
In
Gujarat.
basketball, you often go and throw hands. Hockey, the referee just stands and people hit each other. You need to bring that. Bring that energy. Bring
Gujarat
that
versus
violence.
Gujarat versus Delhi. This was the game that made me the best third man host, or better.
There are two third-man hosts.
Better third man host. So I said Gujarat would win. Keshav said Delhi would win, and
I
Gujarat
honestly
won.
thought Delhi had a good chance. They won the toss.
I
They were
think Delhi had a
chasing.
good chance, but I think Gujarat was just, I don't know.
Delhi need
Gujarat's
Delhi back.
yeah, and I think Gujarat's total wasn't great. We
Hmm.
saw 170, I think they were 171, and you're like,
Hmm.
okay, it's average, nothing great. But they bowled pretty well for what it's worth, and I
Yep.
think Delhi also let it slip a little bit. They thought that Lalit and Akshar combination would carry them. It didn't. But I think Delhi
Raw pace from Lockie
Oh,
Ferguson.
he's the man can hit 150s regularly. He's a late
While being
140s.
accurate.
and yeah, exactly, which is what we've seen in Navdeep Saini over the past.
It's like he has a lock on the Swiggy fastest delivery of the game. Does he like Bottle Guard because he's a big Loki fan? I think he likes Marvel the way he likes Loki. Okay, I'm done. But
we will edit this out of the podcast next time, so you don't have to hear any of this.
But overall, a really good game week for our predictions. I got one wrong while Kabir got all correct. But overall, pretty close. I think we did well. But I think in general, IPL, bro, you fell off. Where is your unpredictability? How are you gonna let two 16-year-old kids predict your entire thing? Like, we know it's fixed. We all
At
know
least
it's fixed.
write your scripts a little better. Your
Exactly.
scripts are kind of underwhelming.
Yeah.
But for what it's worth, I'm happy that your scripts included Chennai losing in this fashion. It makes me very happy. Makes me very happy. Gives me great joy. Absolutely love it as an RCB fan.
See, now we're gonna predict RCB winning today's game against RR, and then their script will be to make RR win just to annoy us.
But the thing is, this won't come out at that point, so they can't see that.
Good point. Good point.
So yeah, so let's talk about the Chennai downfall.
Okay, first thing, Chennai downfall. What happened to Chennai? Where did it all go wrong?
It went wrong. I think the retentions were not bad for what it's worth. They had a decent set of retentions. Some said maybe Faf should have been retained. Okay, it's up for debate, but I think they did a pretty good job with the retentions. They lost at the auction table. They tried to replace Faf with Devin Conway, who didn't strike as well in the first game either. Their bowling is weak, and Deepak Chahar is obviously missing.
I think the glaring factor is at the death bowling.
For sure.
Who is the death bowler this time? Chris Jordan. He was excellent in 2018 around that area for England.
He's been good for England recently also. Like, not great, not to those levels of 2018, but he's not been bad. Like, he's bowled decent spells. I still think their power play is also, like, the power play bowling is a major problem. I think they got their first wicket in yesterday's game, if I'm not wrong, or day before's game, and they're missing Deepak Chahar for sure. There is no doubt they're missing Deepak Chahar, and they're probably gonna, once they get him back, they look a different squad because he can also add that with the bat. But their bowling is just underwhelming.
But I think their auction strategy in general was lacking.
Yeah.
They went to up to around 6.5 crores for Raidu and didn't go to 7 for Faf.
Yeah, which was just...
When Faf is your leading batsman, Orange... Even last year...
He could be your captain. Realistically, if we talk about that, Dhoni knew, the Chennai management knew that he would step down as captain. Faf as a captain would have been a better pick than Jadeja, in my opinion.
This week's conspiracy theory. The Chennai management did not know Dhoni was stepping down as captain.
I refuse to believe that.
Let me talk. Okay. Dhoni, they've been practicing in Surat for a month now. Dhoni sees the net bowlers. He does not see the potential. He does not see the thing. He does not see like the talent in them. But now, he needs to preserve his legacy, right? He's the greatest white ball captain of all time. 2020 season is already a stain on his legacy.
Which is kind of mad if you think about it. That one season is what he has.
He can't let another second IPL season go this badly. So he steps out from captaincy and puts it all in Ravi Jadeja. Now the decision looks like he's stepping down, making space. And in reality, all he's doing is saving face. Because we know that the IPL is fixed, right? They all place bets on the games and fix the games. So Dhoni, especially Chennai. So Dhoni realizes that if he's the face of the franchise, he can't bet on his team to win because he is an honest man who will never bet on his team to lose. It's not like they've been banned for match fixing. So I think Dhoni stepped down for sole personal image reasons.
I don't agree. I think it was time for him to move on anyways. I would have liked him to not play in general, make him sit as a coach and free up those 12 crores they paid him. But I think Keshav is just...
Also, I do love you, Dhoni. You are one of India's greatest ever white ball captains.
If you want to come on the podcast, we're always ready. Keshav will take back everything he said. Do not worry.
But anyway... Csk'S players are old, but are they finally past their time?
I think the thing around Chennai was, the dad's army, but they perform well and all. I think it's catching up to them. I think they believed in that for far too long. And I think it's showing now. You can see the weaknesses in their squad. And
second thing then, modern cricket. Are we past the need for innings like Joss Butler's? He scored a century, but of 68 balls. Are you really contributing to the team if you're striking at 130 while hitting those many runs?
I think... No, in general, no. But I also feel in that game, Sanju Samson didn't get off to a great start. Dave didn't get off to a great start.
But
I'd say it was kind of required.
Joss Butler was around 85 or 50 balls. And then for his last 15 runs to get to the century, he took another 12, 13 balls.
But I agree.
At that stage of the game, that slowdown hurt them. That prevented them from getting a 200 total. It's another reason that Mumbai are absolutely shit that they can't chase it down.
Yeah,
but
valid. I think definitely if Rajasthan lost, there'd be a lot more criticism on that for sure. I do agree that it was probably a little too slow for T20, but I also feel in the situation of the game, there were a couple of instances where his non-striker let him down a little bit.
I think in a T20 game, there's the benchmark for judging should be if you cross 50 and you're still striking at 130, That is not great. So let's put it in context, right? He scored 100 of 68.
68 balls.
100, great score, first century of the
First century,
IPL. Wow, every commentator's going mad. But look at it in context. 100 of 68 is 100 of 11 overs. This is around a 200, 210 pitch.
215, 220.
Yeah, no, I don't think 215, 220. I think 200, 210 is a good score on this pitch. And he's striking at below 10 runs an over while being the primary run getter of the team. If you're hogging strike that much, if you're batting for 11 overs of the game and you're striking at below what your required run rate should be, I don't think that's a good innings.
I don't think it's a great innings. I completely agree. But I also don't. I feel Josh Butler is definitely the kind of player that could score 100 of 40, 50 runs.
He could score 120 balls.
Exactly. There's no denying that he has the caliber, but I do feel it was the situation of the game. I still believe that it was the situation of the game. It's not a great score. I think people were, like Keshav said, exaggerating it a little bit, overreacting a little bit because it's the first 100. And it's against a Mumbai team which is supposed to be the best in the league.
Of course, my philosophy can also go wrong when we look at a team like Punjab.
Yeah.
What they did against Kolkata. They decided to go big or go home. And on that pitch, they could have batted conservatively and got to, say, 170 or 180. But is that really going to help? You have Russell, Narain, so many hitters in the other team. I say Russell and Narain because they're West Indian. Might be a bit of racism in there, but no. They have a lot of hitters.
A little bit.
They have a lot of big hitters in that team. But the point is they bat, go big or go home, and it goes wrong. They scored around 120. Yeah. Kolkata easily chase it down, and it's done and dusted.
I think that's the risk you take.
But I think that is the correct way of playing T20 cricket. And that stems from their management and their philosophy. They have Dan West and Julian Wood, who are all proponents of this style of T20 cricket where you hit sixes. Because T20 cricket is about hitting sixes. There is no point of playing like how Sunil Gavaskar wants you to play, wherein you hit a six, take a single, and that is the way cricket is meant to be played, apparently.
And I think you saw it at the auction table as well. They were very clear on their strategy. Their Best, Livingston, they knew that they wanted to invest in these power hitters, and it paid off in the first
Odion
game.
Smith, my muscle man of the week.
This needs to stop at some point. But it shows that that's the philosophy that's sticking.
If you have any suggestions for this week's muscle man of the week, do be sure to leave it in the comments below.
We'll put an Instagram story up if you want to.
But yeah, back to cricket discourse. Yeah, I do think that
it's the right philosophy.
It's the right philosophy.
Obviously, you're not going. It won't pay off all the time, but it's probably the right way to play cricket.
The right way to play
especially the IPL where we want to see sixes and fours.
Yeah. IPL in general, bro. Like, no one wants to see a 120 pitch. Never take me back to the UAE again.
Oh, the UAE was the worst. Even I understand that there were only 4 pitches or 3 pitches, and so the pitches got slower as the season went on. The first few games also the scores were like 140, 150. There was no fun watching the IPL then.
Bro, watching the games I felt like a migrant worker.
Yeah.
I am
okay.
trapped in there.
Okay. That's a bit
much. To watch
that's
the game
a bit
being tortured. Okay, sorry, that is a bit too much. But another thing, we will have an article on sports washing soon on our blog. Website is also coming soon. Check that out. Link will be on our Instagram page.
And we put a couple of stories as well. Yeah.
Okay, anyway, third thing of the thing.
The captains.
What do you think of the captains so far? I'm going to discuss 4 main captains today.
The 4 new.
KL, Shreyas, Hardik and Jadeja. First, let's get into Jadeja. What has gone wrong with Ravi Jadeja? Is he not a good captain, or are they external circumstances forcing him to fraud?
It was such a professional question, and then it went to that. No, I think it's a combination of 2 things. I think number one is that this team was not made for him to be captain. I think Chennai management and Dhoni knew he was stepping down, but I don't think Jadeja knew well in advance. I think their plan was to maybe go for Faf in the auction and get him as the captain. I think Faf could have done a little better than Jadeja. I don't think Chennai's downfall is because Jadeja is the captain. I still feel at the end of the day, Dhoni is the captain, Jadeja is the paper captain. But I do think he's let that captaincy wear on him. He's not batted as well. He's not bowled as well. I don't blame him for Chennai's downfall. I'm just saying it's affecting his own personal game, which is the problem in my opinion.
My takeaway from this is now it's time for the conspiracy theory of this week. Mahendra Singh Dhoni, India's renowned white ball captain, winner of 3 ICC trophies as Indian white ball captain, suddenly steps down the week before the IPL in 2022. Are there any other factors in play here? Or is it solely a captaincy decision? Find out now on the Third Man podcast.
It was solely a captaincy decision.
What happened is, Mahendra Singh Dhoni has never had a stain on his reputation. The only stain has been the 2020 season when he didn't do well. Now, they've been in Surat for a month. He's been practicing. He's been getting in touch. He's been watching all their local Indian bowlers bowl. Maybe he was just not impressed by them.
No.
He thought that they were not good enough and realized that if he was captain and things don't go well, things would be put on his name, on his ledger, on his record. And Mahendra Singh Dhoni, being the great captain he is, could not take this stain on his record and thought, it's time for me to step down as captain. My image needs to be preserved. I can't have two bad IPL seasons. I'm known for getting to the playoffs every season. And I fraud in 2 seasons. Surely I'm not the greatest captain of all time then. So he steps down and puts the pressure on Ravi Jadeja. Now, we all know that the IPL is fixed, right? They need to bet, especially CSK.
Yeah.
They've been banned for 2 years for match fixing. And then Mahendra Singh Dhoni decides that this team is not good enough to decide when to win games and when to lose games. They're going to lose games anyway. So he can't fix. He can't get that money. So he steps down.
Once again, there are a couple people on the last episode who said, now that we can finally see video, we see how embarrassed Kabir looks. This is why I'm embarrassed. If you've heard this, you know why I'm embarrassed. But yeah, I don't agree.
Mahendra Singh Dhoni, I have a lot of respect for you. You are one of India's greatest captains of all time. IPL is also not match fixed. That was hyperbole. But you stepped down for your image.
I don't agree with Keshav at all. I think he'd always planned to step down. I don't think Jadeja was their number one captain though. I think it was still Faf. I think it went wrong at the auction and it let them down. But I still don't think that Jadeja was their number one captain. And he hasn't been a good captain. How much of a captain is he with Dhoni still in the squad? Out of the 4 we're going to talk about, I definitely think he's the worst out of the lot.
KL or Shreyas?
I still think KL because he's had that past experience a little bit. I do think Shreyas is a good captain. He's not been great, but he's been good. He's showing positive signs. A little overrated.
KL's been bashed everywhere for his captaincy, saying he's not the leader, he's not the future guy. Well, Shreyas Iyer is seen as India's limited overs captain in the future.
There's 2 things I think about that. I think number one, the fact that in his first game as captain against the mighty Chennai Super Kings, the defending champions, he beat them. The Chennai Super Kings aren't mighty anymore. They are not those guys anymore. It was definitely a lot more one-sided than we thought it was going to be. But most people could have predicted a KKR win, right? I do think that has a little overrated. Everyone's talking about how good Shreyas Iyer is the captain because of that. He's a good captain. I'm not saying I don't like him. I do think he's a little overrated. And I do like KL Rahul a lot. I do think that because of his first game, where it didn't go well for him, he got out for a duck, the first ball of the new franchise, out for a duck.
I think KL is unfairly targeted. Last night he defended 170.
Exactly. And he bowled his bowlers at the right time, by the way. He bowled Avesh Khan in the 17th over, which is genius. He put pressure on an inexperienced lineup of the Sunrisers, and he won them the game. KL Rahul has been a very, very good captain. Yes, he's had that past experience, but I do think he's been extremely unfairly bashed by the media.
I do think KL and Shreyas are both good captains. I do not think they're in the boat of, say, a Sanju Samson, who I don't rate as a captain. I rate him highly as a batsman. As a captain, I'm not convinced. But anyway, let's go on to our 4th captain for today, Hardik Pandya.
I'm just happy. Hardik Pandya, thank you for bowling 4 overs again. Thank you for hitting 140s.
140 kilometers per hour.
You're just making me happy again. Decently impressed with his captaincy, nothing amazing yet. He's a different character to what I thought he would be. I did not think he would be the kind of person I'm seeing on the pitch. I thought he'd be a lot more hot-headed.
Kohli,
very Kohli character. But he's been very calm, cool, composed, things you'd use to describe MS Dhoni with. Maybe he got it from there.
I prefer the Kohli captaincy.
I definitely prefer the Kohli captaincy. But it's been good. He's made the right bowling choices. I think it's still a little early to judge him, but he's been good. For what I've seen, he's been decent. I think we both agree we don't like where he's batting.
I don't agree where he's batting at all. My main issue with Hardik is that he's batting at 4. I get that you're the captain, want to take responsibility, spend as much time at the crease as possible, but what are you? You are a finisher. You're a slog hitter. You can't have an existential crisis while you're captaining a team thinking, nahin, actually I'll go up and bat because the team needs me. You need to go there and hit at 200 strike rate, at 250 strike rate. Hit those big sixes. No one wants to see you come hit a 30 of 22 balls.
So I don't think the team needs him to bat that. I think similar to the first game against Lucknow, he didn't have to bowl 4 overs. I think he's doing it to get his place back in the Indian team. He doesn't need to be batting at 4. I think he's batting at 4 to show the selectors he can still bat. But like Hardik, that's not what the team needs you, right? The team doesn't
Once
need
again, this is some. I don't agree with Gautam Gambhir much, but this is this is like the only place where I agree with him. Wherein when you're playing for your franchise,
Play
forget
for
your
your
country for a
franchise.
bit. Play for your franchise. Play for the team you are playing for at that moment. Yes, your country comes first or whatever, but at that moment you are playing for
franchise.
Gujarat Titans. So you give your all to Gujarat Titans. You do what is best for Gujarat Titans, and I don't think him batting at 4 is their best option.
I don't think it's the best for them, and I think he's being a little egotistical, a little selfish about it.
But as a captain, he's done
he's
brilliantly.
pretty well.
Like on the field, his decisions have been
He's good.
excellent.
He's made the good, like even going up to the third umpire. He's done decently.
He's done well. He's done well.
So how do you rank the 4? If you had to rank the 4,
Jadeja,
yeah, I
Hardik,
agree.
KL, Shreyas.
I would have to say KL is over Shreyas. I think that's a little bit because KL also has past experiences.
Bangalore bias.
Little bit of Bangalore bias as well, but I think KL has performed very, very well and has been unfairly criticized.
Before we go on to our predictions, I have something that I would like to say.
This is never good. I'm just warning you. This is probably never good.
Ravindra Jadeja, I'm
Oh, no.
looking you in the eyes.
Okay.
Your team needs you, Jadeja. Your team needs you. You can't stand at the boundary rope, standing over there like a diva, waving to the fans. Yes, we love you as the fans. Get in that 30-yard circle. Get in their field. Get into the bowler's ears. Get into the batsman's ears. Batsman shivering, batsman shivering. Do something. Don't stand right at the back waiting for Dhoni to just stand and do everything. Be a man. Be your own person. Grow up. You are now the captain. Lead from the front. You can't stand at the boundary rope, take one insane catch. Everyone will call you the greatest fielder of all time. I don't care. You're not in your bowler's ear. You're not in the 30-yard circle. You're not doing well enough for your team. You have the beard for captaincy. You have the Kohli beard, the Williamson beard, the one that signifies wisdom. You have everything. You have the name. Your name passes the vibe check. Ravindra Jadeja. It flows off the tongue, bro. You go to the toss and they say Ravindra Jadeja. It flows off the tongue. But you're standing at the boundary line. You're not going to be able to help your team there. Your team needs you, and I want you at the 30-yard circle next week, okay?
Last week it was Shreyas Iyer's hair. This time it's Jadeja's beard.
Jadeja, your team needs you is all I'm going to say. Okay, on to our predictions for this week. RR versus RCB, today's game.
You're not gonna find many unbiased opinions when it comes to the RCB.
We're
games.
both going RCB.
We're picking RCB.
We're picking RCB.
KKR, am I?
I'm going to go with Mumbai first one of the season. Surya Kumar and Rohit are back. Cash money against Kolkata. Steph Curry from the 3-point line. LeBron James from anywhere other than the free throw line.
I'm gonna say KKR. I think KKR will win this. I don't think Mumbai. I don't think they found that perfect combination yet.
Okay.
Lucknow, Delhi.
I'm going to back my Delhi boys.
Same,
Davey
I
is
think.
back.
David Warner's back, and they have that best top 4 in the league, in my opinion. Punjab, Gujarat.
I'm
Did I
backing-
that correctly? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm backing Punjab. Gujarat's first loss of the season. I think Punjab have the perfect weapons to defeat Gujarat's Arsenal.
I don't think so. I think Gujarat are going to win. I think Rashid Khan, maybe. Hopefully he does well.
Hopefully he
hasn't
does
done
well.
Yeah. But yeah.
I'm going to go with Punjab. Then.
IPL, if you're listening. On a Saturday afternoon, you've put a double header. Cricket fans are ecstatic. 3:30, you switch on the TV, you watch cricket till 11:30, and the first game you put is Chennai Sunrisers.
No one wants to watch that shit.
What is wrong with you? Who is switching on the television to watch Chennai play Sunrisers? They're the 2 worst teams in the league.
Trash versus garbage.
Disgusting. Absolutely
No,
disgusting.
I'll go with Hyderabad.
I'll go with Chennai just so there's some difference.
Evening game.
Evening game is top quality for what it's worth. We have RCB versus Mumbai.
Heart in the mouth. I'm going for the RCB.
Again, not a lot of unbiased here. We're going with RCB.
Yeah. But I think that's all for today.
Yeah.
We have a special guest lined up on the podcast, so check
Very
us
soon.
out on Spotify. Check us out on Instagram. We're the Third Man Pod on Instagram. Check us out on Twitter. We're also the Third Man Pod on Twitter, but the first letter of each word is capitalized.
That's his 4th try, guys. If you're wondering how he got it so well.
And yeah, that's every.
That's
And join our fantasy league. I'm currently second. Kabir is
4th, I think. 4th or 5th, something
Fourth
like
or fifth. Check out our fantasy league. Winner gets a high five from me.
that. And from me.
Okay. And thank you for watching. See you next week.
Bye.